All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Goodey, and directly below me here is Mr. Shane Carruthers. Welcome back to our Deal Room webinar for June. It's been a big month, Shaney. Oof.
Yeah, it has. It's been a year.
It has been a year. A lot of work on, but we're going to get into some really cool cash flow deals tonight. But before we do, obviously, we have to do the obligatory disclaimer and say that this is not individual financial advice. It is classroom advice, one to many. And if you would like individual financial advice, please speak to a financial advisor, accountant, or mortgage broker or alike. And we've got some great people you can talk to as well towards the end of this webinar as well. Now, obviously, Shane and I are doing a lot of these deals webinars at the moment, and a lot of the people that are online tonight have been watching quite a lot of them and getting used to it and really enjoying it. And it's been really great to speak to people from all over the country who are somewhat flabbergasted about the quality of deals that we can find. And honestly, as always, all it takes is 8 or 9 hours a day on Trade Me and really great relationships with real estate agents. And we've been able to find some really, really great deals. And we've been continually impressed with exactly how fast these deals move as well. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea about what we're going to do tonight. Firstly, you're in the StreamYard software. Down the right-hand side of your screen, there's a comment section. You can ask us questions, put comments in there. But also when we pull a deal up and we show it to you, we're going to put the link in that side section as well for Shane's website, where you can have a look at each individual property deal. Now, the link will take you to Shane's website that looks an awful lot like this. And all you need to do, you'll be in the property section, which will look like this. You'll click on the exact deal, or you'll go into the exact deal, which looks like this. And on the right-hand side there, you've got a little gold box that says, please send me the info pack. And all that does is it means that Shane puts you on his database and says, hey, this person's interested in this particular property. And then he's going to send you a whole pile of information on that particular property and have a chat to you about it and walk you through any additional questions that you might have. Is that a fair call, Shane?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, click on the link. That'll sort of open up your email and fill out the subject line and everything. So you've really just got to push send. Feel free to feel free to put your phone number in too if you want to, but it's not necessarily needed. He's a bit tall today, but yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, sorry.
That's so rude. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? Let's have a look at this. So this is deal number one. Now, this is a deal that we did very recently, and I think this deal sat on our table for the shortest period of time of anything we've done lately, in reality. Do you want to walk us through it, Shane? Big Dunedin job, eh?
Yeah, so we listed it on Friday. We had it under offer on the weekend, so it's currently under offer, but happy to take backup offers. So it's a corner site in the CBD, consisted of 3 separate titles, 3 separate dwellings. Combination of the floor area is about 558 square meters. I think they're like 150 square meters each. 27 bedrooms across the lot, and then 7 bathrooms. So I think a couple in 2 of them and 3 in the other. Currently fully occupied. I think they're getting like a blend of sort of 250 to 300 a week. It's all like fully consented, warrant of fitness, all of that sort of stuff up and running. So weekly rent 6,700, which ends up being 350k a year gross. And then out of that, you've just got rates, insurance, property management, power, building warrant of fitness, cleaning, just the normal sort of stuff. And it should spit out sort of, if you worked off sort of $2,000 to $2,500 a week after all expenses. As you can
see from that picture, that's fiercely downtown Dunedin too. That's CBD. It's right in the middle of the guts of everything, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great location. It's really suitable for this type of property, just because, typically people don't need to have cars in that location. Weirdly, there is heaps of parking anyway on the street. So even if tenants did have vehicles, it does work really well. So yeah, it's just a big cash flow machine. And then a future development site, as you can sort of see by the by the way the photos position, that, you know, if someone bought that and developed that side and went up multiple stories, they're going to be pretty good views of the water and of the city. So it's not the sexiest of looking of buildings, and possibly the color, but it's just designed to create cash. So yeah. So it's a cool little deal, that one.
Yeah, and as per most deals that are really great, it's not sexy, but it's a village. You know, I love the fact that, like, you could have quite a bit of this untenanted at any one time, and it would still wash its own back quite easily. You know, I love that about it.
Yeah, seems to be occupied. Seems to have a pretty good rental history. But I think if you go into it thinking I don't need it to be 100% occupied, you'll probably manage your expectations. But it should be, just because of the location. And the setup, because you've got it set up over 3 separate dwellings, that makes it easier as well. So you just have a group of tenants, another group of tenants, and then a third group of tenants, rather than like you got 27 tenants. Yeah. I know that seems like a subtle nuance, but it's actually quite different. Like you're going into, you know, X street and you're going into Y street and you're going into 25. You know, it does a good job of spreading that risk as well, that in the future, if you wanted to, you could just do, you know, 3 leases across 3 properties.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do rent by the room.
No. And with 3 separate buildings like that too, you could empty one building out and renovate it and take it to young professional standard, or leave a couple of students, or, you know, and change them around a bit. But also, like, you know, it's just so big, like nearly 800 square meters of building. The replacement cost would be double what you're going to pay for it anyway. And then, you know, we've seen some stuff in the South Island recently, in particularly smaller towns, where the rates have been horrific. Like trying to pay rates on a property in Gore can sometimes just be eye-watering, whereas this is a heck of a lot of building for the rates, really, when you look at it. 20 grand a year across a rent income of $350,000. It's not bad at all.
Yeah, thanks for the correction. Yeah, it is 797 square meters. I think I said 558. I need a coffee probably. But you're right, because you got the 3 separate titles. When you are doing maintenance, you could potentially do maintenance on 1 unit and still have 2 full having income. You could sell them off. You could have 3 people buy it as a JV, and you each own a property each. So yeah, it does work really well. That's unusual to have a setup like that, and for it also to be on a corner is super helpful as well.
Great for access, great for light, and you know, honestly, like it just reminds you of these sort of, you know, Sydney suburbs and stuff. But you know, you and I have done a lot of work on a lot of like older Dunedin stock lately, and honestly, this is actually really quite good by comparison to some of the product that's out there.
Yeah, I think the balcony setup is very Australian looking. Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah. So no, that's a great property, that one. So like I say, currently under offer, but accepting backups. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I think the fact that somebody saw the value in it within a few hours of us putting it up recently and grabbed it is kind of typical for the market we've got at the moment. Because, you know, Shane and I had a conversation earlier today about actually presenting some of the properties that we said no to, and both of us kind of agreed at a certain point that, like, we don't do much due diligence on properties we're going to say no to. So it's kind of a bit hard to explain to you guys our process, because, you know, we just fiercely will not sell trash. And you know, we've kicked some stuff to the curb very recently just because we wouldn't support it ourselves. And I think that's a very important distinction, you know.
You definitely got to go through a lot of deals to say yes to one. Yeah, for sure.
My email and my file system says that I think I've done numbers on about 140 properties this week so far. It's Wednesday. You know, we've been burning it hardcore.
Yeah, you better start get a hustle on.
Yeah, I get my coffee on, I tell you. So 27 bedrooms, so sort of $350,000 a year, and expected income $6,500 a week. Mortgage on that at sort of 2.3 million. It's going to cost, say, 115 grand. You got some healthy property management in there, because it's really obvious that the person who purchases this is most definitely not going to be from Dunedin. $20,000 of the rates, power internet, do some cleaning, a healthy dab for maintenance, just to repair stuff. That isn't to maintain it to a certain standard. It's just like with a property this size, you've got to be realistic and allow for things to break. Insurance as it sits, so $220, so you cash flow by sort of $127,000 a year. And as per a lot of these bigger projects like this or bigger properties, a lot of people come in and they go, oh, but I've got to put like a $600,000 deposit in. Well, yeah, you probably do, but that's a percentage of the purchase price. And in reality, we're seeing a lot of people come in for these bigger properties and they're putting $1 million and a half in to push that cash flow higher, because the money's so much better spent sitting in a property like this than it is languishing in a bank. And you've got a gross yield there of 15% and a net of well over 10 and a half. And you can see, if you're looking for something vaguely like this, where this just would fit into somebody's portfolio and make them a better opportunity to borrow more money in future, because this absolutely makes you look and act like an astute investor. I do like this project quite a lot.
It's a portfolio. It's a portfolio builder. Like if you could enter this, you could build a portfolio off the back of it. And only disclaimer is it's not for everyone. Not everyone has 2.3 mil plus just. But and also may not be able to get finance on it if they did. So it's not for everyone. But if you can do something similar to this, even if it was a baby size model of this, where it was like a mil but similar sort of yields, yeah, it really does leverage it into the next deal, because it creates its own equity using cap rate val. It's got cash flow, so your serviceability is good. The bank freaks out when they first see it, but then you own it for a couple of years and then they just see the income and they get it. So it makes the next one easier. Yeah.
I mean, you got to imagine, like, there's nothing that would stop this property from bringing in cash. It's just it's probably brought in revenue for 100 plus years for many owners, and it's a stopgap between now and the next thing, really. Yeah, great property. But as we say, under offer currently, but taking expressions. Moving on to the next one, deal number 2. This is a big bad deal in Dunedin. Once again, it's a couple of different buildings in a central city street. Once again, the suburb is defined as Dunedin Central City. About $2.5 million around there, 12% gross, rental return $5,850 a week, or $304,000 per annum. This one's just had a few rent increases on some of the rooms in the last few weeks, and it actually, at these exact numbers, this one actually has 2 rooms empty at the moment as well, so they're still tenanting a couple of the rooms. So there was a little bit of upside even to these numbers here. So 22 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. Once again, about 800 square meters of building. That sounds like a commercial property, but this is residential. 558 square meters of land, situated in an area which is full of multiple unit blocks, accommodation, boarding houses already. Council rates half the last one, about $10,000. Insurance a little bit more, about $20,000. So this one's going to be cash flow positive, about $2,500 per week. So I would legitimately say, if you just got really excited about that deal number 1, and you were a little annoyed that we said, hey, look, that one's kind of gone at this stage, then this one at deal number 2 might be something you really want to have a crack at. And Rome, my admin there, has just chucked the link in there, so you just need to do that one click and send that quick email through to Shane, and he'll send you the more comprehensive list of information about this property. And this is one of the deals that we've got that is currently developing, if that makes sense. We are gaining more information and getting this thing moving along as we speak. And this is one that's just, we've been spent the last few weeks gathering more information, doing due diligence and grabbing information on. We're pretty excited about it, actually, because like, I was talking to Shane today, and we were talking about where we kind of are and the point in the market. And there's a certain period in the market where this type of stock actually sells, and it's a once every 10 or 15 year occasion where stuff like this actually comes up and is available. And I think it's a really good place and a good time to grab this massively high cash flow deals. What are your thoughts on that, Shane? Because like you've been through as many cycles as I have in reality. You know, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it does seem to be that these are slightly more available. What's driving that, I don't know. I think when there's just, market changes, there's potentially a war happening, or maybe you go back to last year and there's inflation, and there's just always noise in the market, and people navigate it in certain ways, either by exiting and selling and thinking, I'll just rather have cash, I can't be bothered with the drama, or people go, well, now is actually a really good time to buy a property, and ideally, if you're buying a long-term investment, making short-term decisions of, is the Labour government getting in next? Is Donald Trump gonna attack someone else? Like all of this stuff, you just can't worry about it, because there's always going to be something. You just got to go, does this make sense? Do the numbers work? I'm going to hold it for 10 or 15 years. And what I've seen is the people that have the confidence to do that, they do really well, and then all of a sudden they're lucky, and so
they're very smart.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it too is, like 4 or 5 years ago, we would have been stoked to be buying in the market we're in now, because 4 or 5 years ago we were all super excited about 5% returns, and now we're finding 9 and 10% net returns with a similar interest rate environment. A lot of people, like we said with the last deal, a lot of people are jumping on these deals real quick. We're going to show you some ones that we've sold shortly, but this is the dream that we wanted to be in sort of 3 or 4 years ago. The deals that we buy now are absolutely going to underpin your portfolio for the next 20 years, because you pick up a deal like this, for instance, $2.5 million, and in the middle of the next boom, and say 3 or 4 or 5 years, maybe, even just thinking medium term, this becomes, say, a $3 or $4 million asset. That's fine, but that 12% net becomes a lot more, and
16%,
and then it pays itself off so quickly. So if you can hit P&I and then overpay it because you've got so much more income coming in than you would on a normal deal, this thing's going to pay itself down like mad. And then might be another 20 years before you decide to sell it, because it's paying for your retirement, paying for your lifestyle. That's what I love about it. So this is deal number 3. This is one in Tauranga. We've got this at $1.3 million. It's currently 2 really big flats. Now, we've sort of sat on the fence here and gone, this could just be 2 flats that yield really well, or it could be a boarding house if you wanted to convert it to that. But the thing that I like the most is you've got water views, and you're in an incredibly tightly held Tauranga community. But it's existing. It's currently 8 bedrooms, 3 and a 5, I think, but it could very easily be 9 bedrooms. There's 3 bathrooms in it. It's grossing 9%, netting at 7.5, 8. It's doing really, really good numbers. And you can legitimately leave it sitting as it currently is, or you could convert it to an even higher cash flowing property if you wish. And once again, it's a lot of house at sort of 260 square meters. Land area is 455. Council rates and insurance is all there. And it just cash flows its wee little head off. And I think, as I said earlier to you, Shane, like Tauranga's rental market is starting to remind me of Queenstown's. Like it's so tight, so hard to find places to live there. It's completely bonkers,
Yeah, it's very hard to get a rental, and you do pay good money. And it's obviously a great location to be in for people that may not necessarily want a smaller centre. Tauranga, Maunganui, Te Puke, all of that. It's just this one ginormous area now. It's all kind of joined up. I mean, we used to go to see Dad and Granddad in the Mount back from Hamilton, 20, 30 years ago. You drive past farmland for a long time from Te Puke to the mountain. Now it's all filled in. So it's a big location to be in. So so this deal will be optimum for people that want to be in the North Island Bay. Plenty access to drive to if they want to. Don't want to be in the South Island. And you've got cool views like that. I mean, once again, it's we don't have the main picture of it, but it's not a sexy looking property but it just needs to be painted white, I think. People need to stop buying orange paint and need to cut them off at Bunnings. But it could be made to look a lot nicer. Yeah.
But once again, like if you leave it as a 2-flat property, there's no reno to do. It's currently cash flow positive as it sits, and there's really just nothing to do. And if you don't want to go the Palmerston North, Dunedin, like medium-sized centres, Tauranga is one of the major centres in New Zealand, and it's just so tightly held. Like it's, we were quite stoked to have a Tauranga property that would pass our stringent, sets of criteria that we want for deals on this site. So that's deal number 3, and the link's just down there in the comments as well at the moment. And if you want to get an info pack and find out some more information on this property, click that link, send an email off, and Shane will send some stuff to you later on this evening on that as well. But it's kind of a mint deal too, and there's a lot of add value there too. It is a really great location. So deal number 4, Shane, you want to have a go at this one?
Yeah, it's a central location close to the hospital. It's just your standard type of deal, full site, a 3-bedroom house that could be a 4, 2-bedroom minor dwelling at the back, combined rent $12.90. Could move up a little bit. It's probably near the top end of it. So it's just a healthy deal, 7.5% gross, full cash flow. Value can be increased with the reno. I've sold a few similar that were kind of 960 to sort of $1,050,000, and a lot of the new stuff is sort of even 1.2 for the home and income. So there's some equity there. So this will suit someone that's wants a sort of a more standardized property. They don't want to do the rent by the room or boarding house. It's still going to be an awesome asset. Hamilton is booming, in my opinion. Potentially one of the highest performing places in the country. Be making good money if you're an agent in Hamilton, and it's the only place I've seen where auctions work really well. They seem to actually sell, so that's a good sign. So
it is. And I think Hamilton's booming because it can kind of go out in all 4 directions, but the only direction that people, I suppose, kind of care about is the motorway. They want to go north and be an hour 10, an hour 20 from Auckland. But
it's easy that,
and the Auckland values used to impact Hamilton, and I feel like now Hamilton's got a life of its own. It's not just constrained by what's the maximum price somebody's willing to pay in South Auckland. And with the inland port and the infrastructure that's gone in, it's really grown and become a major hub of itself. And I think that there's a 3-city situation going on: Tauranga, Hamilton, Auckland now, and people just feel quite comfortable within that metric. Particularly funders and banks will lend just about anything on Hamilton properties. And once again, this is one of those properties where we were happy to present it with a slightly lower yield than our typical, boarding house multiple unit yield, because the Hamilton market is just so incredibly strong right now. And we had to really compete for this property, and it took us some time and some effort to negotiate it. And once again, I think this will be one of those ones that's, a seriously hot offering that disappears very, very quickly. So once again, that's deal number 4. It's in the comments there. Click the link, send the email off, and Shane will send you some information. Obviously, you guys can make comments and chuck them into the comments section there and ask us questions as we go along as well. But more than happy to answer questions via email directly after the webinar as well. Because Shane and I are pretty committed to sort of doing one of these a month at the moment. And it's an absolute complete panic on the day because we want to bring you brand new, fresh, awesome deals. And this has been some of them. We're pretty happy with that. We're really happy with the quality that we're bringing, but it's very, very manual because quite obviously the 2 of us are actually really allergic to selling you guys brand new, off the plan or townhouse type product. And I think everybody's uniquely aware of why that is these days. And it would be so easy for both Shane and I to contact one of the developers we know and get a listing for 40 of something identical that's at market level adds no value to you, the investor. You can't add any value to it, and it's going to be a suck on your portfolio. And we're just not up for it. Like it's basically physically repulsive to us, because also like we love the fact that we've got a nice little cash flow community here that's listened to Shane on my webinars for years and listened to me, rant every day on my Facebook page about add value, buy under market, create cash flow. And the reason for that is because you create that cash flow, the bank loves it, the bank will lend you more money, and you can buy another property very, very quickly. Whereas if you're stuck waiting for a townhouse or a new build or something to go up in value, over the next couple of years, you might be waiting quite some time. And so I'm supremely confident that we're bringing you the right deals and the right information at the right time. I really am. I'm pretty happy with that. So here's deal 5, Christchurch. Shane, you want to go again?
I think you probably know a little bit more about this, but this is, another sort of large house, sort of 272 square meters, 9 bedrooms, 3 bath. We've sort of pitched this at renting $230 a room. I think that's pretty light, but we're being conservative on the numbers. I think that could be, could range up to 300. Could also come back down to sort of 190 for a single. So I think 230 is good, but still lowish. And that should cash for about $500 a week. Once again, not a super sexy looking property, but looks like a bit of a tree house. But it's in really good nick and is configured in the right location to work for a rent by the room, and purchase price is really good. It's actually really hard to get stuff in Christchurch to cash flow because it's very tightly held. There's normally 2 agents that sell all of them. They put everyone into multis. They're very good at what they do. And you have people just buying stuff for like 5% yields or something. They're just stupid. And they're typically, 1.2 mil plus. Yep. So they don't often come up as a rental. This one has been created by us, and that's why we can make it work. I think if this got configured and optimized, if it was back on the market, that would be well over $1 million. Because just the rent is so good, and 9 rooms spread over 272 square meters
with 2 properties too. So the grey one at the front is actually 2 stories, 2-story right on the front, and the rest of it is a big. So what they've done is they've had a 4-bedroom family home. They've made it 6 bedrooms by putting a unit basically sitting on top of it, and then they've put a micro at the back, which is the green roof you see with the garage next to it. So much like the Tauranga property, this could be treated like 2 completely separate properties with 2 income streams with 2 families living in it. If you want to be conservative and take a lesser cash flow, or it can be 9 bedrooms and be one massive boarding house sort of situation, or nurse's home or property, or whatever the case may be. And it's pretty modern. It's sitting in Linwood, which is a great suburb in Christchurch. And it's just done. Like, there's actually not much to be done with this property.
Yeah, it looks pretty tidy.
It is, yeah.
What's the minor unit? How many rooms is the unit at the back?
3 at the back.
Yeah. So that's optimum, to have the 3. So if you didn't have the appetite for a rent by the room, then you just do a home and income, and it's going to yield. Numbers will be pretty close to that.
And it has been rented as 3 different properties at different times too, being that there's been 2 families that have rented the front property together, and then one family that's rented one at the back. It's unusual, but it's easy. It's kind of cool to be able to have that elasticity of use of the asset, I suppose.
Right. So 2 families could still rent the front property on a single tenancy. Yeah. Makes sense.
And you get a 6-bedroom house too, and it's rare and unusual to have one sitting on the market. So there's a lot of conjoint families and stuff that want to live together like that. So it's good. You get a premium rent for that. Rates and insurance totally under control. And basically this one cash flows no matter which way you look at it. And, honestly, I think we've nailed it tonight, because we've got properties in 3 of the more tightly held suburbs in the country, being, Hamilton, Tauranga, and Christchurch, a nice mixed cross-section. I mean, we're not talking Queenstown and Wanaka, but, it's still, I think we've still done pretty well. And Christchurch, as you said, like, I was down there a few weeks ago, and it's just a brand new city. it's unbelievable. And the rates aren't going to shoot up like the rest of the country because they don't have much to fix anymore because everything's new. It's so cool down there. I actually really do like it.
Yeah, no, I rate Christchurch. I do a lot more deals down there if you could find them. Like I say, the issue is it is hard to get them to yield. So it's not about the location not being good. Yeah.
And let's face it, you've seen the photo there. There's not a lot of gardens to play with, so maintenance is going to be pretty cheerful.
There's a little bit in the front there. Put a little veggie garden in.
I think that's a deck. But yeah,
it's got grass on it. Oh,
absolutely.
Okay.
So that's deal number 5. The link's obviously in the comments as well. Bang that through, and we'll throw some additional details through to you as we get them and as we negotiate it and move it along. I don't think those 3 deals are going to sit around very long, both the Tauranga, the Hamilton, and the Christchurch, mainly because they're so tightly held that it's actually been quite a while since we've been able to support something decent in those suburbs. But yeah, some bloody good deals, some absolutely crackers there. I'm very proud of us. And there's nothing there that I wouldn't put in my own portfolio. Honestly, the 2 really big Dunedin ones would be me. I've bought setups like that in the past, Kilburnie and Lower Hutt in Wellington, and I just love those great big, multiple unit jobs because one of your tenants leaves, you're still covering the mortgage. Occupancy doesn't go to 0 just because you lose a few tenants. It just makes me be able to sleep better at night. But as you say, like one of those big deals, you could double the size of your portfolio, and then you go back to your bank in 6 months and they're very impressed and they lend you more money and off you go again. Very cool. All right, so moving on. I'm going to show you just some of the stuff that we've recently sold because this stuff that we're presenting takes many, many hours for us to find, call the agents, gather all the information, negotiate, get it under offer, obviously present and do these webinars to a good database full of people, and then talk with you and work you through the purchase of it as well, because we're trying to be very on purpose with how that we do this. And by on purpose, I mean constructive and ethical, and we're still working with our clients that buy stuff with us, sometimes weeks and months after they've purchased as well. So the Wellington one at 9.5%, that was on the market for a very long time, needed some love and some work and some minor maintenance. We purchased it, passed it on to another client. They've got their hands on it and done the thing they need to do, slipped it into their portfolio. The one on the right-hand side here, the Palmerston North one at $1,500 a week, that was a 15% gross return. It's just an absolutely massive standard family home. And when I saw the photos of it originally online, fully furnished with staging furniture, my first impression was, oh, well, we can't afford that. But we negotiated it to a point where we could, and we made the thing work. And we're still dealing with the person who purchased it and helping them through the process that they need to go through to do the full renovation on it, because we really want them to be able to lift the value very, very quickly so that they can refinance, recycle their equity, get their equity back out, obviously, again, and come and buy another property with us and roll through and make their portfolio bigger. Here's a couple more. Your Invercargill one there, Shane. Do you want to talk through that? That was huge.
Yeah. So it looks like a mental ward, but it's not. It's just the colour. Just like a little city. It was a 12 tenancies, I think a blend of 1 and 2 bedrooms throughout. Massive cash flow, old building, but in pretty good nick. Building inspection was pretty clean. I think that was maybe $1,000 to $1,500 a week cash flow positive, but just actual separate tenancies. So that once again, and that was around sort of 2.5 mil or something. So that's another portfolio builder because, standard rents are just going to go up over time. There will be some maintenance on it, but yeah, that's a cracker deal. That was on the market for a long time before we sold it because it needed to be sold properly, like explaining people how it works and giving them the information they need. Whereas what typically happens is these are just listed as a property, and that's not how us investors want it. We need the deets. We need the info. We don't want to know that it's north facing and balcony and good indoor outdoor flow, and we need to know the numbers. So yep, so we shifted that one, and then the same with the Hastings one. That's 6 tenants.
Hold on there, Shane. Full credit to you down there, buddy. Like that Invercargill one was listed by a real estate agent who owned it, who owned his own agency in Invercargill, and still couldn't really explain it to investors. And you did an awful lot of work to figure out exactly what the investor who purchased it needed and to help them through their entire due diligence process. And this was an investor from Auckland who had a bit of money and was willing to invest it, but just wanted to be told no porkies, basically, right? They wanted they just, as you said, exactly, they just wanted the details, and they wanted somebody to talk to them like they're not a child, and as an investor. And I think he did a great job of it.
Yeah, to his credit, he moved quickly and he got it done. So yeah, absolutely. And so the Hastings one, this is one that was sold, I think, actually late. Like, we've sold it twice actually, but just because the person that had purchased its situation had changed around jobs, and they were changing locations to Dubai versus Canada, I think it was. So we actually sold this twice. So yeah, I know quite a lot about this property. But yeah, so it's 6 tenancies, similar sort of setup, 1 and 2 bedrooms, and it was rented to a social housing provider for about 150K a year rent. So no property management fees, locked in guaranteed rent. They look after all of the maintenance, more or less. Any damage they take care of. So that was a cool little deal. Sort of just over $1 million purchase price, and yeah, $1,200 a week, cash flow positive. And they have their own, the social housing provider has their own property management company, because they fund it, because they make gazillions. And so that was very much a turnkey product. I'd love to have a couple more of those, because I'd happily put people into those. Yeah.
And it just shows you there's value in it, because you managed to secure the property for the right price, sell it, and then the person's situation changed. You managed to, a few months later, sell it for them again, showing that there was fair value. And the person,
good value. Yep, and both purchases really easy to deal with. And there was a few issues along the way, but we got through everything.
Nice.
That was great.
Another Dunedin one here, and our Palmy job. So I worked heavily on the Palmerston North one on the right here, 15% return. We sold it to a person that I was dealing with. They're from out of town. They're doing a lot of work on the property, and we are managing them through the prospect at the moment of taking it from 5 bedrooms to 7 bedrooms, getting it fully tenanted, probably 1 tenancy, not a boarding house, and then basically trying to work closely with them to get them to get a new valuation done at a much higher level, so they can pull some equity out, so they can go and buy some more properties and stuff, which, is the ultimate. We're really happy with that. And Shane, you worked on this Dunedin one, right?
Yeah. So this is a pretty straightforward one. It's actually just 1 dwelling, but it's sort of separated into a 3-bedroom plus a 1-bedroom. As mint, like you can tell by the photos. It's such a nice looking property, really good condition. We negotiated really well on this to get a good price for the purchaser, so it yielded close to 10%. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, that one. And road frontage, I think they'll do really well out of that. And then the Christchurch one is similar to the one we've got on this webinar, where it's been repurposed because of the size and the bedrooms, and that's been rented by the room. I think might have been one of Steve's clients that bought this.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's just a great looking property, very good condition. I think it was even like double glazed. It was like way too baller for our stock. Normally it's like double glazed and like, polished floorboards and all sorts. It was like something you'd live in. Yeah. And I think that was maybe around 700, and then rent 2,100, which is just bonkers rent. So yep, that was a cool one. And then the Taranaki one, typically don't do stuff in the sort of the smaller centres, but this was an awesome property, 2 2-bedroom units joined together, awesome condition, really good purchase price. I think around 430,000.
Wow.
So the offset of being in a slightly smaller location was balanced out that you're only putting 430k in. It's obviously going to have very good capital growth, as the regions do, and yeah, delivering $1,100 a week. So yeah, that was a cracker little deal. Dunedin one, that was, I would have bought this if I'd had the cash. This is like about $1 million. It's like 3 levels. Each level was its own tenancy. So I think you had tenants at the bottom, middle, and top, and they were all paying, you know, the best part of $1,500 a week rent, I think, maybe a little bit more. And the bottom one was, I think, like a rehabilitation centre for people that were literally coming out of prison. So that was a difficult sell, because like you just had to be honest and say that's what you got, but they could pay in their rent. And then the other 2 were students, and we went through, and it was just such student-full. Like there was literally a row of aeroplane seats out of an actual aeroplane in the lounge for their couch. I'm just like, where did you find that? So, but yeah, but the person that bought this, it also had a resource consent approved to do 21 studio apartments, because this is right in the middle of Dunedin CBD. Like you literally come down the street, and there's cafes, like everything's there. Yeah. So they've got that resource consent approved. So that's actually now being converted into 21 units. Yeah, so that's sort of been repurposed. I would have just kept it as a cash flow sort of machine. Yeah.
And you got another Taranaki 2.2.
Taranaki one, yep, same sort of one again. It's sort of 2. It's on a full site. Like I think it was like 1,000 square meters. And then what's typical is they sort of do the 2 units down there. You can see one side the grass is mowed, the other guy's like, I ain't mowing your half. So that's the 2 tenants, and yeah, that was a great deal. I think that was maybe sort of 400 or 500 grand purchase price, and I think that rental figure is supposed to be higher than that. I think they were probably like 500 each or something. So yep, that was a good deal. Christchurch, this was last year. This was very similar to the other one that we got on here, where it was just a large house repurposed. The garage had extra rooms in it. From memory, the guy that bought it was a little bit cautious about a rent by the room, didn't really understand it, but we sort of helped him through that process. And I think the last time I spoke to him, he was like, I've added more rooms. Like he went from like being nervous about it to being like, well, let's just fully lock in and get as much rent as possible. So that's a premium location. I think it was like a Grammar Zone or something in Christchurch. So yeah, that was a cool property. Mount Maunganui, that was a full site, had a 4-bedroom and a 3-bedroom at the back, actually full houses on it. And yeah, that was a cracker deal, right by Bayfair, 5 minutes walk to the beach. 7% yield, but it's what you're getting is a premium location. That was before after Bayfair had sort of finished all their stuff. So that's cool. Yeah.
Right. Well, look, guys, you've got all of the links to all of the deals on the right-hand side there. And obviously this is our June webinar. We'll be doing another one in a month's time. We'll pre-register everybody that's online tonight for that. And obviously we'll be marketing it on the Facebook page as we go along. But we highly recommend for deal flow, because the best deal in the world is going to come along and you guys aren't going to be ready, so to speak. So we really want to get everybody as prepared as humanly possible. So most of you will know that I work really closely with a mortgage supply company. Dave and Jack Winler have teams all around the country. Rome's just put a link into the comments there, so you can open up that page and fill in some information there. And the mortgage supply company, at no cost to you, will come back with a capacity report, which basically says they'll come back to you with an idea of how much money you can borrow. And people don't really do pre-approvals as much anymore, but they certainly can get you to a point where they can give you a really, really good idea as to whether you're going to be able to borrow the money. And it just gets you so much further ahead of people who are unprepared. So I highly recommend that you do that at the moment. The other thing that we've got at the moment, which I think will be of interest to a lot of people, is we use Gilligan Rowan Associates, GRA. They are tax and structure experts and accountants, and we can do 5 free consults with them at the moment. They're actually also doing a really funky deal that they haven't done for years, which is if you sign up for Gilligan Rowan Associates and you haven't been a client of theirs before, they'll do 3 years of financial accounting for you for the cost of 2 years financial accounting. That doesn't include assets, trusts, and structures. It's purely accounting work, but they'll do 3 years for the cost of 2, which in essence means that if you would like to join them, you get the first year for free. Now, we really love, respect, and trust Gilligan Rowan Associates because, and I've said this before and I stand by it, they're just never wrong. They are so good at what they do, and they keep my clients on the straight and narrow with IRD, with trusts, with entities and structures, and with exactly how to hold their most important assets. And I think that's uniquely important. So the link to that is in the comments as well. And if you click on that link and fill in the form, once again, you're not committing to anything, but I've got 5 free consults available for people who would like them tonight. And the consult means that you'll get contacted by GRA. They'll book you in for a Zoom call, and they'll just sit face to face with you and have a conversation about whether they can help you or not. And then once again, there's no commitment to that. You're not locked in for anything because that'd just be stupid. And in reality, I think you can understand and see what Shane and I are doing. We're supplying the deals. We're trying to make it really easy for people to buy them, trying to make it really easy for people to make money out of good quality deals, recycle so they can go again and buy more deals. And I think that that's pretty transparent. And we're just getting people to work with people that we know, because we're in the industry, that these people are really, really good, robust. They're going to be around forever. And they do the good work because our clients have dealt with them just for years and years and years. And so have we. And these are the people that we use as well.
Yeah,
so
you got to have a team of people because it's a complex product that you're buying, and there's inherent risks that are there, and the way to de-risk it is to deal with a qualified mortgage broker who's going to steer you in the right direction, that is proficient, that excels in complicated deals, has relationships with banks, can get deals across the line that normal brokers don't. And can structure it in a way that they're setting you up for the next deal, and that's the same with the accountancy. That it's a minefield if you don't set it up right. So if you get it set up right, then you only have to do it once, and then you're set to go. And with GRA, I think they're probably actually even on the board with the IRD where they do the advisory role, so they know exactly how everything works. So there's no grey area around how things operate. So yeah, I've used them for 15 years, and they are the same price as everyone else. So you're not going to save money by having a guy that works from home that's a bookkeeper that you think, well, it's going to be less costly. Like doing accounts, they all cost the same, but at least you've got the
cutting edge. They are
cutting edge, and just the volume. If you need accounts done and they can prioritize it, they've got enough people to turn it around and to take calls and get questions answered. So yeah, I'd highly recommend them. Yeah,
so we've got that in the comments section there if you want to talk to our mortgage brokers at the finance part of it, and we've also got in the comments there if you want to talk to Gilligan Rowan, have that free consult. As I said, we've got 5 of those tonight. Now, this is more to do with Shane and Cashflow Property. There's 2 parts to Cashflow Property. Obviously, we've shown you 5 or 6 deals tonight that are available, and they'll be available for the next few days. Maybe some of them disappear really, really quickly. If you'd like to join Shane's database and see the fresh deals as we get them every day, because I'm still negotiating 4 or 5, and I know Shane is as well, and there might be some fresh stuff that turns up before the next webinar series. That link is there at the moment. You can join his database at Cashflow Property Alerts, and he also has a bespoke buyers service, which is the databases, I suppose, for people who want to see a whole pile of deals and want to choose one at some point. The bespoke buyer service is more for people who are finance approved, ready to go, pretty much know what they want, and want to have an individual phone call session with Shane and get a feel for what he's got available in his bespoke buyer service. And he will literally negotiate on your behalf and go and find something that suits and works with your portfolio at the moment as well. And that's for people who are ready for it right now, ready to go, quite serious people. Shane's a real busy guy. I've got him running around the place, and we're doing a lot of stuff. And so he really only wants to work with a small number of people within his bespoke buying service. But we're offering it to you guys tonight if you'd like that as well. And that will encompass jumping on his bespoke list, and he'll give you an interview phone call and see where you're at, essentially. That about cover it, Shane?
Yeah. So the bespoke buyer service is like, if you're ready to buy, then we could have a conversation to see, even if we're the right fit for you and whether we can actually assist you in that. With the joining the database one, with the last webinar with my new fancy website, it had a moment, and I don't think you could subscribe last webinar. So if you are in doubt and maybe you haven't been spammed with a whole lot of properties from us, I'd just encourage you to just rejoin the database. And then if you are already joined, then there's nothing lost, and if not, then you will be on there. So yeah, we had a technical glitch. Yep.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's pretty much us for tonight. If you've got any questions, chuck them into the chat box there. Other than that, thank you so much for everybody. There's a few hundred people that joined us tonight for just short of an hour. We pushed out and showed you guys a lot of interesting deals. I think you can get an idea for where we're at in the market and what we think's going on. I think there's some stunning, cracking good deals out there, and we're always enthusiastic and encouraged by the fact that quite often when we show these deals on a deals night like tonight, they go within a day or two or tonight. So if you see something that you like, jump on it, show some interest, let us know that you're there. As always, there's no set commitment, but we'd love to know that you exist and that what you're looking for and what you're after. And we'll mark it through my Facebook page next month for the next deals webinar, which will be coming up in a month's time. And we'll really look forward to seeing you then if we don't talk to you before then. But that's us for tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shane, for all the effort you put into today to present all of this as well. Much appreciated.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate you taking the time.
That's awesome. Thanks, team, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.